Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we have quite a big build to go through because I decided to rebuild the Copperdale High School in Sims 4. So it's gonna be quite long of a build for us today. And as you know, the lot where the Copperdale School is located is kind of a big of a lot. So I had some struggles trying to figure out how should I lay that out? And at first I thought like, oh my God, how am I gonna fill this whole lot with the building? And then I thought like, I have this like kind of a bad habit of mine when I go for filling literally the whole lot with something, at least something. And mostly, of course, it is filling the lots with the buildings. And for this whole school, as you already see, like the main shell is already coming up all together, coming out a little bit. But I was struggling kind of with trying to figure out what I want a school to look like, and I was sure that I wanted to make school a little bit maybe more modern. And now that I've finished doing this school, I think that that complex where you're supposed to have your prom, your career day, it looks kind of not matching to this school now, because this school turned out to look quite modern in the end, and you will see that like maybe in like 5 minutes. But for me it was hours, because this build is highly sped up, as you might already see, and I have managed to make this video still almost an hour long, because when I had the raw tape, this video was 10 hours long, and when I was speeding it up, as you see, this is what we have. So as for the main school, as we see, we have some kind of like a huge boxy main building, and I was trying to figure out some kind of a floor plan in the first place when I was just trying to figure out like the whole shape of the building. But then I thought like, no, that's not working because I keep getting lost, and I figured that I kinda do not know what I'm doing when I was trying to make all of these boxes. But I would say to you that the main location of most of the rooms stayed, but like some details did change. And also the main building has like another building attached to it, like and it is accessible either from the outside or from the second floor of the school, and it is accessible like through this kind of a bridge I did make. And this bridge I made a glass one, and I just thought that it's kind of cool looking. I've had something like that in the university, because at the university where I was studying, it was like an old huge building, and this old huge building had several more buildings like built all the way around, and some of these buildings were attached to the main buildings, and sometimes it was actually done later, like years after the main building was built. So that was a little bit weird, but in the end, it's kind of okay. So I tried to go for something like that in here, and I would say that this school is maybe a little bit more like a university area and not a school area. Maybe that is not really good, because if you go to the high school and then you go to the university, maybe you won't find like so many fun things to do in the university in the Sims. But I decided here that, like, you know, high school years is not that bad of a pack. It like gave us active school, but it's a little bit of a boring pack, I might say. So I decided to make this high school fun, because high school is kind of repetitive, and if you go there, like I don't know, but for me, I've never found a reason for myself to stay in the building of school after my Sims finish the school day. But today, in this build, I try to make it so that my Sims would have the reason to stay in here. So I try to place here a lot of skill building stuff so that, as I said, my Sims would have something to do around here. And as you see, I'm kind of making that glass bridge I was talking about, and I would redo it a couple of times, of course. Like I would adjust it, like with the building itself, I would decorate it inside, but for now I'm just trying to go for the shell. So in here I've already made that glass bridge I told you about, and I've used the greenhouse kit in here because I just thought that these windows they work perfectly for this like bridge from one building to another one. I just thought that it looks perfectly, exactly what I wanted to have. And you might have noticed that when I was roofing that glass bridge, I had met some kind of a roof trim glitch, and I've noticed that roofs do not are not very good friends with platforms, but I did not have platform on that piece of room I had in here. And when I was placing the room in there, when I was placing that roof in here, I did not have trim in some spaces. It was like, I have trim for maybe like 5 meters or 5 meters of my roof, and then like there's a gap, and so on and so on. It was so weird. So I just decided to place like a tiny, quite short of a half wall all the way around, so that at least that would look fine. And you see that I'm already going for some kind of a decor on the outside now, because as I've said, I've managed to overcome the glitch, but I was already in the very beginning of me making this build. I was already trying to go for some kind of decor, and that was because I just thought that, this building is modern, this building is huge, and this building is kind of, I would say, a little bit too boxy for my liking. So I decided to make it to add like some fun shapes. Like I like when in the modern builds we have some kind of a sunk in windows, and I tried to hide some of the windows behind some paneling. So I just thought that it would look kind of cute, it would look kind of fine. And when I was coloring this whole build, I did not know what kind of color I should go for. So I decided to go here for more of a brick color at first, but then I thought that, all right, if I go for brick with for some dark brick with some light white accents, it looks kind of fine, but it looks kind of, I don't know. I just thought that it's not exactly what I wanted to do in here. So I decided to go for something different. So a little bit later you will see that I did recolor all of the building in those solid like concrete walls that we got from Eco Lifestyle. And like as you have seen from my thumbnail, I think the main color of the building is yellow, and it's like a yellow, bright and sunny school. I just thought that it looks kind of cute, and I just kind of like the way it looks. And you might have also noticed that I was struggling with trims of the rooms for a while, because in the Sims you may add trim only to the whole wall or to the whole room, and neither of these options did go well for me, because as I have decided to make like some rooms existent only on the second floor, so that behind underneath there we have like open area, it's outside already. I had to add some kind of a trim on the bottom of these kind of rooms, and it was a little bit of a struggle because it did look weird a little bit at first, because the trim was adding itself all the way around the whole building or on the whole wall. So I had to make some fun stuff like adding extra rooms, maybe cutting out some extra parts, or with the platforms I had on the top, just did make like a half wall that was like sunk into the platform, so that it's not visible, but it's like separated room. This build, by the way, is already on my gallery. My gallery name is Glover, just like my YouTube name. So if you want to check what I ended up with, you can go to my gallery. You can see it out there. But if you're patient enough, I'm gonna finish making this build like in maybe somewhat like 40 minutes, and I'm gonna give you the whole room tour of all building. And I should tell you that this might sound not so good, I would say, but this is the first build that I can say that I have completely play tested. I did get a sim from the world, I did bring it in here, and we went all the way around the building and checked if everything that is necessary for me to work works. And I done that twice because after I found some stuff that did not work, I had to fix that, and then I had to bring the sim back so that I would know that it works again. And some of the stuff did not work in a way that, it made the build partly unfunctional. So I had to literally add like a huge part of the build, and then I had to bring back the sim, and that was mostly for the classrooms. And you will see that as now I'm going for the floor plan, I had to add like the huge area for a cafeteria. Well, the cafeteria. In the cafeteria, I decided to add like some kind of a kitchen in there. Also, I had to divide the area for some classrooms and for the staff room. And actually, in one of the classrooms, I decided to place like a lab. Like if you go to the classroom, you can access through this classroom one other room, and in there, I decided to place a lab with some like analyzing stations and with a couple of robotics machines. And that is because now I'm playing my legacy challenge, and one of the sims in my legacy challenge, Genevieve, she is into robotics, as I'm imagining that, and I wanted her to study some robotics, and for that purpose I wanted to place that into the garage. But I figured that I still cannot afford that, and Genevieve is already a teen, so I thought that I might try to figure something else out so that I can give her some room to study her skills. So in this school, I decided to place a robotic station in the lab in one of the classrooms, and in there I wanted to place a lab from the get to work, but it is not functional if you're not a scientist, so that did not work. And I wanted to place there a station to fabricate some of the medicines if you have a vet clinic, but it's also not functional if you're not a vet and if you're not in a vet clinic. So it did not work. So I had to replace that with something else. And as you see now, I'm trying to go all the way around my build, and I'm trying to place some filler furniture, and most of this furniture and part of this floor plan will not stay because I had to rethink it over and over and over again, because it takes a while to build a proper build in Sims, I would say, because sometimes it turned out that, like, this build will not be functional and it will not fit everything you want to fit in here, however hard you try. And I tried really hard to fit a lot of stuff in here. In that lab, as I've said, I had like some stuff for getting veterinarian skill and also for science, but it didn't work. So I replaced that. I did place there one more robotics station, and I did place there one more analysis machine so that you can use that. And for another purpose, I know that sometimes, actually most of the times, I really do not want to place like those huge appliances we have in the Sims, like, a microscope, for example. I had that in one of my legacy challenges in the garage, but it is a struggle to fit in because, as you know, that thing is huge. It's actually 5 tiles long and 2 tiles wide, I think, or maybe 3 tiles wide. But that is huge. It's still very, very big. I decided that maybe it's gonna be kind of useful to place something like that in the school. So, that is maybe kind of a new school, maybe that is kind of an expensive school, or maybe that is like heavily financially supported school. So in here, I thought that we might afford to place some expensive stuff, to say so. So in here, yeah, we have kind of a good of a lab. In here, we have like some kind of a music room, I would say maybe a music room, but I decided to like make several classrooms, as I have said before. And in all of these classrooms, one of them, as I have said, it is a science classroom. Another one, I decided to make like a painting or maybe fine arts classroom. So there we have several easels, some paintings around the area, And also in there I decided to go for more of like artsy vibes. And one of the classrooms we have like English literature and language maybe class, or Simlish in literature. And one more classroom we have is gonna be a music classroom, I decided so. And in there we have like a tiny stage where we have a guitar, where we have a violin, piano, a microphone, so you can sing in there, play the guitar, violin, or piano, and get some skills. So I thought that that this build needs to be really useful for us, and you will see that now as I'm going around and trying to figure out the whole exterior. That took me a while, by the way. So settle yourself for the exterior because we are not going back to the interior in a long time now. So for the exterior, as I have said before in the very beginning, we are going for a modern style build. So in here we have a lot of like simple shapes, but some details that are not like super fancy, but the details that look cute, maybe I would say. But as you see, these details are these like green flower boxes. We have some greens on top of our build. We have a couple of fountains in the area and stuff like that. So I thought that this build turned out like that, maybe nice, perfect, modern, simple builds. I don't do builds like that all the often, but so it was a little bit of a struggle for me to do something like that. But I just thought that it turned out to be really cute and really cool. And with these flower boxes, you have seen that I have used these like fence. We have a low one from the base game, like a brick fence, but later I decided that maybe it is a little bit too simple to do, so you will see that I've made some kind of a custom fence for this whole build, and I've spent ages doing that. I tried to make like, I don't know, a flower bed in the middle of green grass, and it's not like a flower bed, it's just like a gravel maybe bed where we have a couple of trees growing, a couple of bushes growing, like organized green area around here. And it's not that green, it's mostly gray actually, because there we mostly have like stones and some trees. And as you see, I'm going like for some stones around it, and it was a little bit of a struggle to do because I figured that before I like plot all these with the terrain paint, it doesn't work. So I had to plot it with a terrain paint, and then I decided to line around all of these terrain paint with some stones. And you see, I think that it's the second time that you see some random furniture in my build, like in the middle of nowhere. But it happened because I spent actually the whole week doing this build. And a couple of times, and I'm using Better Build By mod. And that is very useful mod if you're building a lot in The Sims. When I was building and when I was using some filters in the game, a couple of times I accidentally did turn off organized debug, and that is very useful when you're doing some of the landscaping, because landscaping has much better stones, much better rocks, has much better trees sometimes, and has much better bushes for most of the time. So I use debug for landscaping quite a lot. And when I turned off the organized debug, it was a little bit too much of a struggle for me to search for the bushes I wanted to find in there. So I decided that I need to turn off the game and turn it on again. And in this high school lot, you cannot turn off the game if you do not have all of the necessities for this slot, because this slot is like, it is necessity for the high school years to function. The game just didn't let me to turn off the game, to save the game, and to save all of my progress without me placing all of the necessities. So I had to place all of the necessities there, which are the lockers, some toilets, some sinks. So the first time when I was logging up the game, after I finished building for majority of the exterior in the first day, I had to just place some random stuff so that I just could go and relax. And the second time, all I didn't have was the principal desk, so I replaced that, and now it's okay. Now like we have everything and it functions. And you see, for the exterior, we have quite a lot to do. And I think that you see now that I did place some activities in the back of the school on the side where we have that football area. So in the back, I decided to place like a caged in area where you can practice some rocket science, because these things are actually not so easy to place on your lot as well as microscopes and stuff. So in here, I decided to place a couple of rocket science stations. And yeah, I think I might have messed up a little bit. Maybe some of the boxes sticks right through the fence, but I was imagining that maybe, maybe this fence is torn on one side or something like that. But I just decided to place there a couple of these like big storage areas where maybe we keep some of the stuff for all of the rocket science to function, some parts to construct our rocket science area. And I actually have spent quite a lot of time trying to figure that out, because I just couldn't figure out the shape at first, and then I couldn't figure out what else I might place in there so that it looks kind of cohesive and so that it doesn't look so random. So I decided to place it, like, I would say, in the science part of our build. And on the first floor of this school, we'll have our science classroom. So I decided to place this rocket rocket science, rocket ship area on the same side of the school. So that, for me, it looks kind of logical. And also for the science purposes, I decided to place like a huge garden outside the school. Now I'm thinking that my school used to have some kind of a couple of greenhouses in the back, and people who are and children who are in an elementary school, they could go in there for like science knowledge stuff. So they were growing some vegetables in there in the autumn or in the fall. You could have gone there and seen how the vegetable grows, and that's actually, I think, quite useful for the kids. And I thought that it's gonna be kind of fun to place here some random fruits and vegetables, so that just like, if you do not have a garden in your home, or maybe you want to start gardening, you do not need to buy these seed packets and hope for the random, as I would say. You might just go to this school and maybe harvest some of the plants you need. So I decided to place here some of the rare ones. So in here we have plasma fruit, and here we have this like weird plant that came with a strange veil. In here we have a death flower if you need one, and some flower, I think, from the Simpsons. And I just thought that it turned out quite cute, and I like the way it looks. And now you might see me going all through the game trying to find these tiny roof pieces that came with cottage living, and I found them, and I used these pieces as tiny little fences for our flower beds on our whole build. And you might tell me, like, why didn't I use just normal fence? And that is because if you use normal fence, you cannot place that on the very edge of the lot. And in here, I really wanted to place that on the very edge of the lot so that I can surround these flower beds on all four or maybe six for some of them sides, so that it looks all good, it looks all nice, and it doesn't look like the fence was going and just stop in the middle of nowhere. So I decided to try and go and make like a custom fence from these roof pieces, and that's roof decor from cottage living. These tiny edge pieces I was using, these are actually roof decor from high school years, and they glow a little bit. I found that, and I thought that they look kind of perfect for these kind of custom fences. And I was going for here trying to make these fences perfect for very long time, I wanted to say to you, because some of these I did do off the camera, so you will not see that. But I spent quite a lot of time doing that. And it turned out, I think, that kind of okay, and it looks kind of cute, and it matches all of the area around. If you do not look on it on the side, because on the side it has some kind of a pattern that looks a little bit too cottagey for me, I might say. But I would not say that that is bad. I like the way this whole build actually turned out to be. So as we mostly have finished with the outside, as I'm trying to place here like some trash cans, some flowers, I wanted to tell you that I also did add in here some security cameras. I did place there like million of trash cans in the inside of the school. I decided to place this like exit sign we have from the high school years, I think, or it might be from get to work. I do not actually remember. But in the high school years, we need to have this like speaker that is supposed to be announcing like, the class is gonna be like in 10 minutes and stuff like that. I just thought that I managed to make a good looking community building. I don't know what you think, and I would be really curious to know what you think actually. For this whole build, I decided to make it like lighten up, and you might ask me, why am I placing all of these tiny light sources outside in the flower beds? And I can tell you that that is actually how it done a lot of the times. I rarely see lamps outside somewhere in the concrete. I just don't think that it is so often done, and that it is so easily done. So I decided to make the most of the exterior lighting for this whole school, either on the school walls or in the school like bottoms where we have these like only second floor areas. I decided to make it in the grass sometimes. And for the science area, yeah, I'm sorry, I have used their journey to Batu because lights from there look kind of good for the area where people will do some science. So I decided to place them in here. And as for the whole school, you see that I've spent actually quite a lot of time trying to figure out only the exterior. And I would tell you that I have spent almost the same amount of time trying to figure out the exterior as I have spent trying to figure out the interior. And that is because for the exterior, I was building that kind of building that I do not usually build. I do not consider myself like a modern house builder, and I do not consider myself like community lot builder. So it was kind of a struggle for me to build this whole build, and telling that we are actually going inside now. And yeah, for the exterior, I've spent like millions of times because when I was starting, I did not know what I'm doing. I just was trying to like wing it because I literally did not know what I was doing. I was trying to make it nice, I was trying to make it cute, and I was trying to make it kind of like big and cool looking and functional. And you might have noticed that because we have some stuff to do there even for children. I've spent quite a lot of time trying to figure out like how I want this school to look like, and that is why I have spent like this long trying to build the exterior. And for the interior, I did not spend like that much time figuring out the interior. For the interior, I was spending a lot of time in the very beginning when I was trying to figure out for what kind of a color scheme I want to go, and with the floor plan, of course, because floor plan takes ages for me all the time. Because when I saw this huge box when I was trying to figure out the floor plan in the first place, I thought like, oh my god, I'm not gonna do that. I will not finish this build. I was truly believing that I'm gonna leave it like half finished, but I did not. I managed to finish that, and that is why you actually see this video, because I've had a couple of builds that I did not finish. This is not one of them. That is why you see that right now. And as for the interior, in the interior, I decided to kind of continue this modern school vibe. So we have a lot of open areas, we have some glass fences, we have like big stairs, we have a lot of open areas, as I said, we have all of these like light color scheme, and I could not resist myself in this build again. And we have another disgusting bathroom. So you will see that, but the bathroom, which is accessible from the very entrance of the school on the first floor, is gonna be disgusting one. And I am partly sorry for that, but also not so sorry because I enjoy so much making these disgusting and partly not functional bathrooms. I just think that is so fun that I cannot resist myself doing that. So in here we have one more bathroom like that, and you will see that. And in here, in the whole main area, I decided to place like millions of lockers, and that is because in the first build that we have in the high school years, I hate that at some point when you go to school, all of the lockers might be occupied already, and that is actually not so comfortable. So I decided to place here like millions of lockers. And what else I did not like about that building that came originally with the high school years is that part of the lockers that came there originally, they are not functional because yeah, they're just there. So they're just decor. And yeah, in these Sims we have two types of lockers. One of them is a functional locker that your sim can occupy, that then can decorate, and the other kind of lockers are the lockers that are just there to be there. And that is why in here I decided to try to branch out a little bit and try to find the spot for this like whole huge boxy thing of a locker. And I decided to kind of cut them out in some areas, trying to place some benches between them, trying to play there some flowers, and you will see that this school has quite a lot of plants on the inside. They are not there yet, but they will be there. Trust me, I can assure you, they will be there. It wouldn't be my build if there were not millions of plants, because this whole lot of plants is one thing I do prioritize. And you actually also might ask me, like, why am I using tiles in like common areas, and why in some of the areas I using linoleum? And that is because I was going kinda partly from the memory of my school I was studying in. And in that school, we had like mostly concrete floors on the outside of the classrooms, like in all of the hallways, and we had wooden floors in the headmaster's office and also in the teacher's office. But in all of the classrooms we had linoleum, and in all of the bathrooms we had linoleum, which is maybe not a little bit not so practical because there are some linoleum that are not water resistant and they're getting quite fast damaged by the water, and water can get underneath the linoleum, and that is like a huge mold hazard and stuff like that. But in my school where I was studying, we truly, we did have linoleum floorings like everywhere. And I don't know why. Maybe because it's much cheaper than making like hardwood or tiled floors. But I don't know. We had linoleum floorings. And as I'm saying that, I'm already going for like staff wing of the school. And in the staff wing, I decided to make, of course, a lot of bookshelves, and that is because I just thought that it's kind of logical to have a lot of books in the staff area. Like they are having all of these archives in there, they have, of course, a lot of recordings of some students, some like personal files and stuff like that, and also some books because, as you know, staff are also teachers, and teachers do need to educate themselves to be able to be good teachers. And I think that all of the good teachers do that, or maybe not. But for the headmaster's office, I decided to go for like mostly, I don't know, like it is the headmaster who doesn't hate children. It is one of the headmasters who likes all of the staff who works in this school. It is one of the headmasters who is kind of gentle toward the students. So if the student is not working so well, they are like not screaming at them, they are trying to help them. And that is why I decided to make like this whole staff area more cozy looking than more formal. So in the staff area, of course, we have a lot of these like posters that are with like, I don't know, maybe school rules or maybe like kind of I don't know, school mission or stuff like that. And of course, in the headmaster's office, I decided to go like for millions of diplomas. Maybe these are some like certificates, like I don't know, school accreditation, some certificates for getting better qualification and stuff like that. But I just thought that it's kind of cute that in the headmaster's office You can go in there, you can sit in there, you can maybe read some books, you can communicate with your headmaster. And for this school, I was going for the vibe, like, headmaster is not your boss, headmaster is your friend and stuff like that. At least that was my idea. And I do hope that I managed to execute it well. And that is why in the headmaster's office, I decided to clutter it a little bit. So in there, we have a lot of flowers. Of course, we have fire extinguisher, and that is because I have it literally everywhere in here. We have some fun stuff like a llama sculpture, tiny one, some flowers, diaries, and some other stuff. And of course, a lot of books. This school has millions of books. I hope your Sims won't be distracted by the majority of these books because for the Sims it can be a little bit overwhelming. And for like general stuff, for all of the school teachers, for maybe, I don't know, school accountant, maybe I know that usually in some places like school there is that person whose job is to set all of these like fun activities for the kids, like, the gathering together, maybe school trip or something like that. So I decided to make like one of the places like for an accountant. And in the accountant area, of course, we have like a lot of general decor. I tried to go for, like, I decided to place by every single one of the desks some shoes, as if people were going to the school in their outdoor shoes and they were placing them underneath the desk while they were working, then they were changing their shoes while they were working. And for all of them, I decided to go for like same desk with the computer, with the headphones. Maybe some of the school stuff works online. They can communicate with using headphones without like being too loud for everybody else around their office area. And for the school accountant, I decided to place a money bag underneath them for maybe, I don't know, main helper of the headmaster. I'm not very sure how they are called in English. I decided to place like also million of diplomas, maybe this like a school representative or somebody like that. And for the person who sets all of the school activities, I decided to place like a lot of fun posters, maybe some stuff that kids did make. It's like kids' favorite person in the whole school. That is what I was imagining for them. And of course, in the area, in the hallway through which you enter to the staff area, I decided to place there a lot of like some fun decor, maybe some awards for the school, some school photos, and stuff like that. And of course, in the staff room, I decided to place a couch and like a coffee nook or maybe a lunch nook, just in case maybe somebody worked really hard and they cannot go to the cafeteria because it would take too long, so they can grab a sandwich and make themselves a coffee or tea right in their office. And at my job, actually, when I was working in the office, we had like a similar stuff. So we had like our office area for several of us, for literally me and a couple of my coworkers. And in this same area, we had a coffee machine. So you could make yourself a coffee without leaving the room, and that was kind of okay, but we did not have like microwave or a fridge, and that was kind of a flop. But in here I decided to give that to the staff who is gonna work in here. That is why we have all of these in here. And let us go to the cafeteria. In the cafeteria, I wanted to make like, students do use this area. But as it is a tile floor, tile is not that easily worn out as linoleum. So you will see that when I'm gonna make the classrooms, I'm gonna add that like basement treasure kit floor, like scratches and stuff. By this, I was going mostly for the vibe that, like, a lot of kids who walk down here. Some of them do not lift their legs from the floor properly. Maybe somebody just cannot, like, who knows. It caused some damage to the linoleum, and I decided to go for the vibe, like, to show that, because usually that is quite visible. So I decided to do that in the majority of the classrooms, of course, I think in all of them. But in the area where we have tiles, we did not have that. So I decided not to do that. So in the cafeteria, I decided to go for like a bright, colorful school cafeteria where we have all of these tables of different colors, where we have all of these chairs that match the tables, and I decided to like mix and match all of the chairs with all of the tables so that these tables were originally placed as they should be, but while school was working, kids were moving that around. So you might have seen that I was kind of mixing the chairs all in together, and there are a couple of chairs that are not functional. You will have to move them manually if you want them to be functional. But I did that on purpose just for the vibe. Like we have some extra chairs in the corner that are not used. Or maybe in one of the table more than six people want to sit. That is why we have a couple of chairs kind of scooted weirdly toward the table. These two chairs, I think they are not functional. And I just think that made like the whole cafeteria area kind of more realistic. And of course, we have one of the table that has all of the chairs around it perfectly matching the table. And that is like maybe some kind of a closed club area where people who are sitting at the table usually they are kind of close friends all together, and they do not allow anybody in their friends group. At least that's what I was trying to channel in there. Yeah, by the way, I think that is a nice point in this build where I can tell that you might have noted it already, but I think that you could have guessed. Yes, you could have guessed. I was not limiting myself with the packs, and yeah, it uses a ridiculous amount of packs, but in the same time, maybe for me it's kind of justified because I not usually make community lots, so that is a little bit difficult for me. I have never done high school. That is the second thing. And next thing is I want to use these builds in my own gameplay, so I mostly do not limit the packs for the builds that I do use in my own gameplay. So if I'm planning on using the build like in my 100 baby challenge or in my legacy challenge, one of them, then I'm not gonna limit the packs. So in here we use quite a lot of packs, like literally starting from base game, going through get to work, and all the way down to the kids and to the Star Wars, of course. And that is just because some of the Star Wars lights were perfectly matching to the vibe. So that is why, yeah, I'm using quite a lot of different stuff in here, and you have seen that. And as I was doing the science area of our school, you might have seen that I was trying, as everywhere in the school, placing a lot of the posters. Maybe they are just trying to channel some of the events that are happening around the school, or like announce them this way. And I'm using a lot of some like get to work stuff, and I decided to make it so that in every single classroom we have some bookshelves except for the fine arts classroom. In the fine arts classroom we have some of these like storage shelves where you're supposed to keep the paintings, and that is because that is literally like a painting classroom. In my science classroom we have a lot of bookshelves just to keep some like science reports. In language and literature classroom we literally have some kind of in-built library in there, and I think that is quite understandable in there. And in the music classroom I did not place that much for bookshelves as well. I don't think that I did place any, because I just thought that in the music classroom you're literally gonna go and practice music. You do not need books in there. So as for the science classroom, I decided also to place like a couple of like shelves, a couple of like storage units inside of the lab, so that you literally would place there like some lab reports or something like that. And I think that I managed to make this build kind of like cute and functional. And yeah, this build also actually turned quite expensive. I don't think that it matters that much because that is a community build, so that is a community lot, so I doubt that any of you will really need to buy this whole lot. But this build actually uses a lot of money. It was like 750 or 770,000 simoleons, so that is a lot, like 700 and more simoleon. That is very much. And I don't think that is a bad thing, but as you guess, as this lot has like millions of stuff in there, it might be a little bit hard to load. It might be a little bit glitchy. So I'm sorry if you don't have like a very powerful PC, but that's gonna be a bit of a struggle if you want to use this a lot for you to use it. If you have not that powerful PC, but I think that you might have noticed that if you do not have a powerful PC, that the Sims game all by itself is a little bit hard to run when you have a lot of packs in it. And by the way, back to the classrooms. Back to the classrooms. You might have noticed that I decided to color all of these student desks we have around there. And that is because I just thought that it's kind of fun looking if I have like all of these different colored desks. And I tried to channel the same stuff as I did in the cafeteria, where maybe this school was used for a while now, and that is why all of the chairs and all of the tables are kind of mixed between themselves. So that is why by the black table we can have a blue chair, by the blue table we can have a pink chair, and so on and so on and so on. Please, that what I was trying to do. For the literature and language classroom, I decided to place there some kind of reading nook. So in there we have a couch in the back of the classroom, we have an armchair, a couple of them, and you can just sit there and read some books. But I just don't think that schools by default. I don't think that they do have a lot of books in them. I just think that in the end, in the very end, this build actually turned out to be quite nice build. Quite heavy of a build, I would say, but I would say that it is still quite nice one. And now let us go to the library and the co-working station, core working area. So I decided on the right side from the entrance of the school on the second floor, right above the staff area, I decided to play there like library and co-working area because as I know, at least in my school, we did have a library right in the school. That was actually quite convenient because when you had to get your textbooks from the library, you did not need to go to some kind of extra building somewhere out. So when I was starting building this school, I knew for sure that I wanted to fit here a library. And a little bit later, I was thinking that, this whole build is actually going to be quite nice to also place a co-working area. So it's like some kind of a computer class, maybe. So I decided to just make like a greenhouse rooms inside the build. And in these greenhouse rooms, I decided to place like a lot of desks. I decided to place there a lot of books. And I decided to place like, brainstorming rooms, a couple of them in there. So in here we will have like these two brainstorming rooms, and these are just like literally dining table with a couple of laptops and with just some papers, some documents laying just in there. And the library area is quite simple. It's literally just books and a couple of desks and some sitting area for you to sit and read in there if you want to. And co-working area is just the room filled with desks. And when I was decorating these rooms, I was using a lot that like book card that came with Get to Work, and I just thought that it fits perfectly in this kind of a build because I was kind of going for, this is library where you can like get a book, you register that, and you can go out with this book, and then in like some days you can bring it back in. I think that most libraries work like that. In here I was going mostly for this kind of style, but also you can grab some books, you can place it on the cart, and you can leave like on campus, like inside the school, with the cart. And later in one of the area, this cart actually made this build partly not functional, but I've managed to fix that, so that is not a problem. But I had to size down one of the cards. So if you will notice that one of the cards is kind of like a little bit off, that is because it's sized down. But otherwise, my sim just didn't want to go around the table to go work with the laptop. That's what we had. So I think that library is one of my favorite areas, and I was trying to go for like, like a cozy reading nook, and that's what I was going for. And now, after we finished with library, let us go to the music classroom. In the music classroom, as in actually a lot of these classrooms we do not have that many of a sitting area for the students. But in the music classroom, I decided to make some fun stuff. And this fun stuff is actually party essentials kit stuff. So yeah, I just when I was making a tiny stage in the music classroom, I just thought that it is my perfect chance to use the party essentials kit because I bought it. I did not use it yet. This is my time. So I decided to make like the background for the stage with the party essentials kit, and that is actually a good use for that. So if you're making a bar, you can do that. And I was thinking that a little bit later I'm gonna make that hallway, that hall, or how that area is called, but there is this kind of a building next to the school where all of the proms is going on, where you can have like a career day and stuff like that. So I was thinking that I might use these Party Essentials kit to make a perfect prom lot. So I think I'm gonna do that next week, but for now I will need a little bit of time to relax after all these huge build of a school. As I finished mostly with the music classroom, I'm going for this like additional building that is on the side of the main school. And going there, I was going that route, that like bridge of a hallway we have like with no first floor underneath that. And in there, of course, I decided to place a couple of sitting areas, a lot of flowers, and I decided to place there a box with some like, school sports awards, sports rewards or something like that. And in this like huge building, I decided to make like an open first floor plan so that this whole building is open to the first and second floor. And it's kind of a huge of a building, of course, but I just don't think that that is a bad thing. We are just and in this like building where we have the fitness area. I think that that is better for more air maybe so that your sims will breathe more easily. And I think that this part of the building turned out quite cute. And in here I was using a lot of fitness stuff, and I was using here a rock climbing wall. And I just think that that is actually also a good chance for me to use stuff like that, because I would not place this rock climbing wall in my normal build. Like where? In a start home? No, we are not placing it in there. The whole house is smaller than this rock climbing wall. I'm not placing that anywhere. And I do not usually. But in this school, I decided to place it so that, if you don't have space in your build to fit this rock climbing wall, you can come in here and rock climb. That's actually the majority of my idea for this school. If you cannot fit something in your normal build, go to this school and do it in here. Like literally, this school turned out so huge when I was building that. But while I was building that, in some points, I was thinking like, I don't know, how am I supposed to fit this thing? It's like too big for that. I cannot do that. And as I'm going now with some Tyrian paint all the way around the build, I should maybe tell you of some kind of flop that I had on this build. First of all, when I was building that and when I was finishing that, I figured that, oh, all right, I have made a fitness room, but I think that I have forgotten something, and that something turned out to be a shower room because, if you have some fitness stuff in your build, your Sims will get tasks when they're in school, and these tasks will require them to go and use the fitness stuff sometimes. And if they do use that, they will get dirty, and if they will get dirty, they will get highly uncomfortable. So it's quite useful to have a shower in the school. So when I figured it out, I decided to come back to my fitness build up next to the room, and I decided to change to place there like a changing room and also a shower and bathroom area. So in here we will have like several bathrooms. I decided to play them for everyone so that everyone can have their shower room. I decided to make like one female, one male, and one kind of like a gender neutral. And any of your like preferences and any of your beliefs. You can delete any of them, you can add additional ones, you can just switch the doors to the bathrooms, do whatever you want to do. But I was just going for something like that. So here we have this. And in all of these bathrooms, I just decided to place like a couple of lockers, like a couple of more lockers. Yeah, we have a lot of lockers in this whole school build. And I decided to place there like several showers. I used no escape ones, and I decided to place there several toilets and of course a couple of sinks and some sitting area, so that this is just like a typical bathroom where your Sims can go, where they can take care of their hygiene and their bladder need. So I think that this build turned out to be quite useful in the end. And for the bathrooms, I decided to place there a lot of like some decor, like some towels. We have some ropes on the doors in the showers, and do not worry, your Sims can walk through these ropes, which are hang on the doors. Your Sims will just ignore them. And I was also placing a lot of posters all the way around the bathrooms, like maybe like school tries to remind you of some events like everywhere, or maybe of some, I don't know, achievements of the whole school. And for the most of the bathrooms, I don't think that I have that much to tell you about. So I think that as I'm finishing up this build, I'm gonna pop back to the game and show you what we have in the very end. And sorry for the long speed build. And this is my new version of the Copperdale High School. So I was going mostly for like modern looking high schools I see a lot of on the internet now. And we have this statement tree in here, of course, because I needed to fill up this part of the lot. In here we have like these gravel plant beds. So in here we have some stones, some grasses, some bushes. We have a couple of fountains, and but this is what we have like for our front of the build. I decided to place like some stuff on top, also a satellite dish on the top of our roof. And this is what I was talking about, my custom fences. So this piece is actually a roof beam, and they perfectly stack together when you just place them one after another like you see. So I like using them as some fence pieces. And the problem is when I try to place them like these, they start clipping and you see like this tiny gap, and if you move one like that, then you will need to alt place all of them, so that is not really comfortable. And this is also a roof piece from high school years. Actually, it's somewhere here it is. It's roof ornament. It did fit perfectly with these fences sized down. In some areas I did not size them down, like here by these flower beds, but in most areas I did. And let us go back to the explaining all of the exterior. For the exterior, I just tried to go for some like simple benches, simple trash cans, simple similar flowers. In here we have like kind of a relaxing area outdoors, so maybe during their lunch breaks, if the weather is good, your Sims might go outside and sit and relax. In here we have some security cameras everywhere, some outdoor lighting, and in here we have some more flowers. This is like a children playground area. Maybe, I don't know. I was mostly going for like, local kids can play in here as well. In here we have our garden area for the school kids, like, maybe the ones who do science, they not like science, they just like gardening. This is that glass bridge I was talking to you about. It's just like a connection between the main school building and between our fitness area. This is our like addition to the building where we have our fitness area. In here we have another fountain, and from every single entrance to the school I decided to place like this sign. I know that it is like a recreation center, like rec center sign, but I thought that it fits perfectly with this high school, and it matched our color scheme, like a lot of grays, a lot of whites. I just did play them on every single side of our high school. Also, in the back of our exterior, we have this basketball court, so you can play basketball in here if you want to. And that is actually quite useful to have basketball somewhere on the community lot, because your Sims can be quite annoying if you have basketball on your home lot. They get distracted by it so much. Also, in here we have this huge telescope. I don't think that that is quite a common thing to place these monstrosities somewhere on your home lot. Also, in here we have a couple of rocket science, rocket stations where you can build your rocket ship. We have some more landscaping in here. A tiny telescope if you don't like the big one. We have a tiny one as well. And some more outside sitting area in here. Maybe you like watching people who build rockets. Like, who knows? And in here you can play some marbles. So that's all good and functional. And let us now go to the inside. As you enter the building, in here we have this like open hallway with some lockers, with fire extinguisher, with security cameras, of course, with the exit sign. I just try to place it everywhere. And I think let us go first to the staff area. In the staff area, we have some of the books. So maybe if you were called to the headmaster, you can sit in here, wait while the headmaster will be not so busy. You can read something. Or maybe here they keep some journaling, like they have a lot of bookshelves in their rooms, but maybe everything does not fit perfectly. Man, let's go to the headmaster's office. In the headmaster's office, I was just going mostly for, like, this headmaster is highly educated. Maybe this school gets a lot of awards and stuff like that. So we have a lot of fun stuff around here, some decor, some files, and maybe this is some documents on some of the students. Maybe somebody was misbehaving. In here we have a sitting area, a computer, of course, and essentials and a lot of flowers. And I was mostly going for, like friendly school vibes. So everybody loves kids in here, except for an accountant. And by the way, let us go to the main staff room. In here we have like a sitting area where you can sit, maybe you can nap. Staff can sit and nap. You cannot do that, but staff can do. They have some random clutter all the way around them. They have lunch nook in here, or I don't know, maybe snack nook, and this area is for the person who likes setting up all of the events for the kids. So kids really like them. So they set sports event, maybe they communicate with the kids, maybe some of the kids did craft some of this stuff for them. And they have a Copeland backpack and another one, just a simple one, just in case, maybe for some work stuff. And this is when they are communicating with the kids. And these are the shoes I was telling you about. And I decided to make like this tiny addition to the desk. I know it looks kind of weird. It kind of spreads the desk out a little bit so that we have like more useful space in it. And let us go here. In here, I don't know, we have like headmaster's helper, or I don't know, a headmaster's assistant maybe room. And here we have some more diplomas. Maybe this person is like mostly on all of the meetings for the school, visiting them online. That's why everybody has headphones, because everybody with some meetings online. And they have some flowers in here, and this is like most formal area for the staff. And they have a speaker, of course, some books and a flower, of course. And this is an accountant area. An accountant has this tiny money bag as if they're stealing something. But no, no, I did not tell you that. This accountant is fair, they're good, and they love kids. And in here we have our like staff only bathroom, where we have like just a couple of sinks, a couple of toilet stalls, so staff can use that. And now let us go to our other bathroom. This is our gross bathroom. And something weird was happening here. Maybe mostly this bathroom is just used by the science students. But in here we have some weird barrels with some unknown contents. In here we have some broken mirrors, some drawn on mirrors, some mold, some water stains all the way around, and it's kind of a little bit disgusting. And this stall, I can guess that it's not functional. You can try, but I bet that it's not. And here we have some water stains on the floor, some kind of weird buckets and stuff like that. But I just thought that this bathroom needs to look disgusting. I like making disgusting bathrooms in my wheels. And let us go to the cafeteria. In the cafeteria, we have a lot of vending machines, so you can buy food in the vending machine. You can get something from this fridge, maybe microwave itself. You can sit all the way around here, and these are those two chairs I was telling you that they might be not functional. That is because they are kind of closely scooted towards the table, but all other ones are functional. These three, I doubt that your Sims will sit in there as well, but I was just thinking that these might be extra chairs. That is why they're like here. This is their like our friends group only table I was telling you about. Here we have a cafeteria, a couple of more fridges. The cafeteria has its own kitchen just in case. And that is pretty much it, our cafeteria. So that's what we have in here. And let us go to the classrooms now. So this is our science classroom. We have a fire extinguisher. In here we have like a demonstration area where you can see this X-ray scan machine, just in case maybe somebody wants to be a doctor. So this is like a doctor equipment area. I was channeling kind of that. Here we have a camera, of course, some books to store our reports or something like that. These are like some of the certification of the teacher who works in here, who teaches in this classroom. And through this classroom, we can enter our lab. And in here, we have these storage units where maybe we keep our secret reports from the lab. Here we have a couple of robotics station, a couple of these machines, and a microscope. And that's what I was telling you about the monstrosity of microscopes. Some of the Sims equipment is a little bit too huge, I would think. And we have some decor in here. And of course, this cow plant. I just like that. This cow plant terrarium. And let us go upstairs now. Upstairs, we have more hallway in here, more sitting area, so your Sims can sit in here, they can relax in here. In here, we have a ping pong, so that your Sims can just maybe fix their fun need a little bit. And oops, I messed up again. Let me fix that quickly. I'm gonna re-upload this build. It's gonna be still called Copperdale High School. We now have our fixed flooring in here, but in here we have more hallway, as I was saying, more lockers. And I did not color lockers upstairs. I just thought that we might need to give it some contrast. And in here, let us go to one of our first classrooms. In here, we have our fine arts classrooms. In here, you mostly will paint. So I decided to place a lot of paintings everywhere in here. We have like this area where you can paint from the reference with your Sims. Some more done paintings. Maybe these are paintings done by the starters, by the people who just joined this class. In here, we have some painting storage, and this I decided to place in here like extra one, not need one in the class. And of course we have a lot of flowers in here and more security cameras. I just like placing them in here. Let us go to the next classroom. This is our music classroom. In here we have some music listening area where I can just sit listen to some music. We have some sitting area. We have another whiteboard, and then here we have our tiny stage. I just decided to go for like mostly pastel colors. I think that it turned out to be quite fun and quite functional. First of all, I had the problem where I had two of these slides and my Sims couldn't walk out the stage underneath them. Now they can. I playtested that, so I can assure you that they can. And as for the bathroom next to these classrooms, I just thought that this is like some music festival poster. In here we have some just like random poster, some more paintings, and I was just imagining that maybe these two teachers, they really love their students. That is why they have all of this stuff all the way around here. And let us go to the last of our classroom. This is our language and literature class. And in here I decided to go for like library vibes. So in here we have a lot of books. In here we have these book cards, some reading nook, and also this is our like main classroom area, and this is the biggest classroom I would say to you. So in here we have like this, maybe some kind of an award from the teacher, this as well, maybe this teacher, the famous writer. And in here we have like a tiny desk. This is, by the way, this is the only teacher who has their own desk in the classroom. Most of other teachers are just gonna stand. So here we have our typing machine and sitting area. So your teacher can sit in here. And of course, a lot of flowers around. And this class and library with co-working toilet. And in here, I just went for generic stuff. So we have a couple of generic posters for everyone. And let us go to the co-working. In the co-working area, I decided to place a lot of these computers so that you, if you don't have a computer in your Sims household, you can come in here and your Sims might work in here on the computer if you really want to, like instead of a library. In here we have our co-working area, and for it not to be useless, I decided to place here this laptop because otherwise I don't think that my Sims would come inside here. And the thing I was struggling with. You see how these two things are placed in here. My Sims can work normally around here, even though it's quite a narrow walk, but on this side of like brainstorming room, I had the same kind of thing in here, and my Sims couldn't work in here, walk in here. In here they can, even though it's less space. In here they couldn't, and I could not figure why, like absolutely could not. So I decided to play to size this book card down, and now your Sims will be able to walk in here. And this room is pretty much similar to this one. A lot of flowers, a lot of books. Somebody was studying in here. That's what I was channeling in here. And this is our last room in the main building. This is our library. So in here we have a couple of book rows where you can go and maybe grab some books, some flowers, and a couple of book cards so that you can grab some books, and a couple of sitting areas so that you can sit and read some of the books you grabbed. And then here you can study, and one of the Sims can sit in here and just maybe discuss some studies with a couple of other ones. And of course, as everywhere, we have a security camera. And now let us go through our tiny bridge above the ground to our fitness area. So in here, I decided to make like this like sort of a greenhouse. We have some sitting area in here again, some security cameras. This is our award area where all of the school awards are kept. In here we have a skeleton so that it's just like, it's just like another classroom but without a whiteboard, so that maybe your physical education teacher will tell you about like, how you're constructed, to say so. And let us go downstairs. In here we have another entrance, pretty much the same to the one up here, but has a little bit more sitting area. In here we have a big flower, another skeleton, we have some skeletons all the way around here. In here we have a couple of weightlifting machine, this rock climbing wall. Also we have a couple of treadmills and a couple of box backs, couple of sitting areas so that maybe your Sims can sit in here and talk to each other if they want to. And from here we also have access to the basement. And in the basement we have a couple of bathrooms. All of them are the same. These two are just mirrored, so they are still the same ones. But in here we have a couple of sinks, a couple of showers, a couple of toilets. I use the same toilet that are usually used in the stall, so you see if I grab it and bring it in here, this is almost the same toilet. And also in here we have these kind of lockers and these lockers again. So we have a lot of lockers in here. And I tried to place here, of course, a lot of flowers and a lot of posters all the way around. And I tried to fill this downstairs area. And your Sims can walk down here, even though this flower is right underneath the stairs. I play tested that. It works. For the backyard, I've had this tiny box sticking out. I'm gonna fix it now, and I'm gonna re-upload it now to the gallery because I usually not like doing that, but sometimes it happens that when I'm giving a quick tour, I find that I messed up in a couple of areas. Like you have seen, I had no flooring up here. I had some random concrete, and that's not what I want to have. And I'm gonna re-upload it to the gallery now. So it's a high school with the 4 classrooms. It's the Copperdale High School. It has 7 bathrooms. It's 737,682 simoleons. That is a lot. That is actually 3/4 of a million. I hope that by the end of my million simoleon challenge, my Sims will be able to afford this whole high school. As for the classrooms, I made more than you need because by the Sims rules, you need only 2 whiteboards in here. So if you have some preferences, you can pick whatever one you want to use. But also, if you want to, you can switch these whiteboards every single day. For the day when you have like science class, you can set your Sims to go to the science classroom, and that's what I was going for. So I'm gonna do that like that. I think I will try to at least. As I have said, in here we have an indoor gym, outside basketball court. Also in here we have a music classroom, a lab we have in here, science classroom, arts classroom, library. Also in here we have some staff area, cafeteria, rock science area, garden area, and you can just hang out in here. So this school, I think, and I hope it's gonna be quite useful for you. So I think as I'm gonna post it on the gallery, I'm gonna thank you all for watching. And if you like videos like that, you can subscribe to my channel. And before I tell you goodbye, I wanted to show you the way this school looks at night. This is well lit area, by the way. So we have a lot of lights all the way around, and yeah, as I was saying, these tiny things they are glowing. So we have a lot of well lit area around here, so I think that your Sims won't be too scared to walk around here. So I think that this is a goodbye. See you next time.